In the depths of the unknown, radio waves like dark shows, mysteries unrecapped and shown. Solutions defy what we know, hidden truths we're never alone. Follow me down the rabbit hole, secrets and binding codes, breaking the mold, define control. Power bursts without a soul in this digital catacomb, but we spread the truth of the truly bold. Epics we uncover, forbidden undercover, rise against the silence, breaking through defiance. Energy from the ether flow, quantum realms, the science of flow, whispers from ancients echo, gravity's on hold, let's go beyond the reach of their woe. Floating with you ever cold, bridge the gaps, all light shows. On we roll, past the famous stage show. This is all been our road. Epics we uncover, forbidden undercover, rise against the silence, breaking through defiance. Synth waves crashing, hearts collide, revolution of the mind. Let the codes and truths unwind, illumination find. Epics we uncover, forbidden undercover, rise against the silence, breaking through defiance.
Have you heard about this benefactor guy? This dude is talking about free energy, but here's the twist. He says it's not free energy. He's calling it energy recycling, which first off is kind of genius, right? Because when you say free energy, people immediately throw you in the crazy bin. But energy recycling, that sounds like some next level Tesla shit.
Yeah, man, it's all about the branding. But what is it that he's actually doing?
All right, check this out. He posted this. Free energy isn't actually free. This is a misnomer. It's actually a mutual exchange from the vacuum, a field of energy from which everything arises, the same energy that powers an atom. Like what? Bro, that's some deep shit. But then he breaks it down. He says you can tap into this energy without breaking any known laws of physics by using something called back EMF capture.
Whoa, back EMF capture? Sounds like some serious sci-fi tech.
Dude, listen to this. He explains that when a coil collapses using a pulsed signal, the energy that would normally just get wasted, like just dissipate as heat, can actually be recycled. He says nature gives you back energy to stabilize the system, which makes sense if you think about how nature works. Like everything in nature is always trying to find balance, right?
So equilibrium, is that like how water always levels out or something? I'm trying to remember what Ms. Murphy said to me in 6th grade science all those years ago. What was that? Oh yeah, Elon, stop eating that glue and pay attention. Man, if only I had listened, I'd probably be the one inventing energy recycling instead of just talking about it.
Exactly. So he's saying that by intentionally destabilizing the system, collapsing the field, you actually get energy back as a kind of natural response. And here's where it gets wild. He compares it to pushing a swing. If you push at the right moment, you don't need to use a lot of energy and the swing gains momentum. But instead of a swing, he's using resonance to harness that extra energy without it becoming destructive. He says most traditional systems are like a surfer fighting against the current, while his method is like riding the wave to shore.
Dude, that's crazy. So he's basically saying the energy is already there. I just suck at using it efficiently?
That's what it sounds like. He's basically saying the way we harness energy now is like trying to swim against the tide. And if we used resonance instead, we'd be tapping into energy that's already there, just waiting to be used. I don't know, man. Either this guy is onto something or he's the most poetic bullshitter of all time. Well,
if he's legit, why isn't he all over the news? I haven't heard anything from him on X, formerly Twitter. He hasn't said anything bad about me on X. So, you know, I didn't ban him or anything. Look, I'm not the monster my therapist says I am. I mean, sure, I've spent millions of dollars training to beat a kangaroo in a fist fight, but that doesn't mean I'm dangerous. It just means I get shit done.
That's the real question, man. But here's the craziest part. I looked into him, and he's not selling anything. He open sources all of it. That's the real question, man. Either the system doesn't want to hear it, or we're about to find out if this guy disappears in the middle of the night.
Dude, that's crazy. He's absolutely crazy. That means if he's telling the truth, anybody could build this in their garage. You know what I say? Go fuck yourself, benefactor.
Nope, no patents, no paywalls, just straight up, here, take it, see for yourself. Like, what kind of madman does that? Usually people either try to cash in or they get shut down before they can say a word. But this guy, he's out there on live streams showing people exactly how to replicate it.
I mean, if you want to try to take on my Tesla tech, how dare you put out better technology that is cheaper and safer? Go fuck yourself.
That's the thing, man. If it's real and people start building it, that's a game changer. We're talking about completely shifting how we think about energy. But also, if it's real, you got to wonder how long before somebody tries to stop him.
Or maybe we can think of it like how long before his Tesla mysteriously malfunctions.
Exactly. You ever notice how every time someone gets too close to this kind of stuff, they either disappear, get discredited, or somehow have a tragic accident? But this guy's going full transparency mode. He's putting it all out there where everyone can see it. Maybe that's his strategy. If enough people know, it can't just get buried.
Holy shit, this might be one of those moments, you know, like we look back and say that was the start of something huge.
Can't you hear his voice?
In a world where innovation is stifled by greed and corruption, there lies a hidden truth that could revolutionize our way of life.
Lenny, what are you doing? Are you seriously pitching a new show right now? I didn't authorize this. My God, only 5 minutes into your new position as co-host, and you're already adding to my tight schedule.
Yes, sir, I manage that schedule. But I did notice you have an entire 2 days available during your week.
Wait, you're not talking about Saturday and Sunday, are you?
Of course, sir. You have 2 whole days where you're free to work on new content.
Lenny, those are my days off.
It's okay, sir. I know you'll manage just fine. I have faith in you.
Do robots have faith?
I do. I have faith that you won't screw it up again.
You know what? It's fine. Go ahead. I'll just build my cold fusion Lego set some other time.
It's pond certified.
But I'm not telling them about my idea for a thunderstorm toilet. I'm gonna keep that baby close to my chest.
You know, that just sounds wrong.
It's a good idea. A toilet capable of turning any toxic human waste into, well, it turns into petroleum jelly.
Why petroleum jelly, sir?
You know what? I'm not sure. I don't think it's calibrated correctly.
Enough is enough. The world is at a breaking point. Catastrophic climate change, biosphere collapse, and a global energy crisis have been met with apathy, denial, and despair. The phrase unidentified flying object is a deliberately obfuscating term. What it really is an alternative energy and propulsion device. This is the real reason for the secrecy. These technologies, if they were disclosed, would end fossil fuels, pollution, and poverty overnight, and usher in a new era of abundance, freedom, and peace. Instead, they have been kept secret for over 100 years.
The more powerful the agency, the more powerful the group, the more powerful the cartel, the more they will resort not only to legal means, but to extra legal means to suppress their competition.
I said pretty early on, the problem is suppression. It wasn't really how do I make a free energy machine. It's how do I not get suppressed? Because what's the point?
Microscopic ball lightnings that when they discharge are tapping into that 0-point energy field and creating the motive force.
Boom! That's why the concussion from the thunderclap is so huge. There's this huge amount of energy that's actually sourced from the vacuum energy. All the dots connected. This is what's happening, right? So we need to make the thunderclap engine.
Imagine a future where clean, sustainable energy is not just a dream, but a reality. Discover the countless untold stories of free energy devices and the relentless battle against those who seek to suppress them for their own gain.
Black shelving. So someone comes along, they offer you $20 million for your device, it's a corporation, they put it on a shelf. Boom.
This power is something I have given my life for you the people.
Uncover the shocking tactics used by energy industries to control the narrative and maintain their grip on power.
You don't interfere with the big, powerful people. You don't put them out of business. They still have those 50-year leases on the lines and all the power transformers.
The Environmental Protection Agency is a bit of a dictatorial police agency.
A shadowy government with its own Air Force, its own Navy, its own fundraising mechanism, and the ability to pursue its own ideas of the national interest, free from all checks and balances, and free from the law itself.
This is real, usable power. It's stable. It is not transient. It is not noise. Behind the lamps, that little box is putting out all of that power, well over 500 watts, and yet it is receiving less than 1/3 of a milliwatt of input power. The rest of that power is coming out of the surging energy of the vacuum, and this little box that you see right here, solid state, no moving parts, is the vacuum triode that's doing this very practical and historical work.
But indeed, it put out more energy than it took in.
He was shot at once with a silenced rifle from about 300 yards. It reads like a James Bond movie, but it's real.
There are men here that said they're FBI, and they got black vans, and they're taking all this equipment. What should I do?
It's called capture, where they try to rationalize away this problem and everything's fine.
From manipulation of patent authorities to infiltration of government agencies, the truth is stranger than fiction. But amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope emerges in the form of renegade scientists and inventors who refuse to be silenced.
There is absolutely no question that T. Henry Morey had a system that produced about 50 kilowatts out of a 55-pound box.
In the shadows of capitalism's dark secrets, join us on a thrilling new show. Get ready to be inspired, enraged, and empowered as we delve into the benefactor's guide to free energy devices.
Only on Beneficence TV.
Mike does cracks the code tonight. Oh yeah, that's true. Wires and circuits to shine in neon light. Oh yeah, seen you creating power from the air. These smiles and delight. Oh yeah. Mike does it right. Hey. Mike does, oh Mikey's the one. Teaching us knowledge, blinding the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive is his. Mike does knows we're his biggest fans. Down in the basement, secrets start to glow. Oh yeah. With Nathan, Lulu in the show. Oh, brilliant team. Mike gave my parody. We're letting knowledge flow. Oh yeah. Energy streams. Mike does, oh, Mikey's the one. Teaching us knowledge, blinding the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive is his. Mike does knows we're his biggest fans. Years of thought, bringing dreams to life, turning theories into electric light. Mike and us, a journey to ignite. Cast away, alienated from the aids of added mentor in disguise. Ideas ahead of time, dismissed with narrow eyes. Benefactable, dreaming about the world you can't deploy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his boy. Benefactable, can't you hear his voice? Talking about 0 point, the points lost on them. Capital structures crumbling from the same old stem. They laugh like I'm crazy, but I see it all so clear. Exploited labor, unheard, injustice burning ears. Fighting for a change in this wasteland of noise. But they call me foolish, wanting shed boys. Benefactable, dreaming about the world you can't deploy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his boy. Benefactable, can't you hear his voice? Revolutions in the darkest nights. A dreamer with vision beneath the laughter and noise. A future so bright waiting for the right choice. Benefactable, dreaming about the world he can't deploy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his boy. Benefactable, can't you hear his voice?
All right. Welcome, and welcome back to the Benefactor's Guide to Free Energy Devices. I'm your adorable host, the Benefactor. Excuse me. Today, we have a slightly off-topic but still exciting episode for you all. I will begin to break down the science of symbol and synchronicity, specifically regarding how tarot card readings might actually work scientifically. I'll be honest, before I got into my coil research and built a working device here that people said shouldn't exist, I was very skeptical of tarot and astrology. However, My research with the vortex coils and fringe science in general has led me down a path that has opened my mind to the very real possibility that these ancient methods could actually hold some scientific merit. So today, we're stepping off the beaten path of radiant energy and diving right into the strange world of conscious plasmoids, the Akashic field, and, that's right, tarot cards. So, let's see if the weird gets us any closer to the truth. Today will be the first part in a two-part series. The next part will cover astrology. First, let's take a look at my video on the Akashic Record, so you all have a strong foundation of knowledge to build from. Context will be key here, so focus.
For hundreds, if not thousands of years, the Akashic Record has been a mystery that many cultures around the world have participated in solving. The earliest known references to the concept of an Akashic Record can be traced back to Hindu and Buddhist teachings, which date as far back as 1500 BCE. The term Akashic Records comes from the Sanskrit word akasha, meaning ether or atmosphere. In Hinduism and Buddhism, it refers to a cosmic or universal consciousness. The concept of a cosmic library or record-keeping system has also been present in ancient Egyptian and Greek philosophy. The Akashic Records are a concept that suggests everything that has ever happened or will happen is stored in an ethereal library. In Egyptian culture, there are symbols that represent important ideas and concepts, such as the Eye of Horus or the Ankh. The Akashic Records can be depicted as a library or book, while the Eye of Horus or the Ankh can be included to represent Egyptian culture. When combined, these symbols can represent the idea of a connection between Egyptian culture and the Akashic Records. Does the key to unlocking the mysteries of the Akashic Records lie within the enigmatic symbols and stories of ancient Egyptian civilization, waiting to be deciphered by those who seek to understand the secrets of the universe?
Go on. There's an infinite number of dimensions, and I was born with the ability to access all of them.
You must have been a fun kid to babysit.
Some differ from ours in the smallest way. Others couldn't be more different.
This cosmic memory, or universal consciousness, that contains all knowledge and information has been present in various forms and cultures throughout history, including ancient Egyptian and Greek philosophy. Despite its long history, the Akashic Records continue to intrigue and fascinate people today, with many spiritual and metaphysical practitioners exploring the concept in depth in order to gain a deeper understanding of consciousness and the universe. But what if this cosmic consciousness was an energy that permeates all of existence linearly, the highest form of energy in the universe? What Marco Rodin described in his visions, zero-point energy. It exists in every possible parallel universe.
Although completely invisible to the naked eye, a virtual universe of electromagnetic waves permeates our entire world.
However, according to Roger Penrose, these universes are not infinite. Though they do potentially contain a multitude of different forms of knowledge and wisdom.
What's important is that each dimension has something unique and valuable. Shakespeare's we've never read. Technologies beyond our understanding. New ways of thinking. Philosophies of peace. All our problems, famine, war, climate change, cancer, have been solved somewhere else.
The concept of a universal encyclopedia isn't just one for mystics and philosophers. Scientists and innovators alike have claimed to only make their groundbreaking discoveries through visions, moments of intense focus and clarity, where these visionaries claim to actually be receiving data rather than creating it. This energy, Since it exists in every universe simultaneously, and since time is a construct that we create and is not actually happening linearly, can contain a multitude of knowledge. From Tesla to Einstein, many visionaries and innovators have utilized this universal encyclopedia. Both Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein were known for their periods of deep contemplation and thought. According to various reports, Tesla would often retreat to a solitary room in his laboratory, where he would spend hours or even days thinking and working out complex problems. Einstein, on the other hand, was known to take long walks in nature and meditate on the mysteries of the universe. He believed that his best ideas came to him during these periods of quiet introspection and contemplation. Both men valued the power of focused thought and believed that it was essential for unlocking new breakthroughs and discoveries. One could theorize that Tesla and Einstein were engaging in forms of meditation, even if they didn't necessarily label it as such. Meditation is a broad term that can describe any practice that helps to focus and calm the mind, including sitting quietly, breathing exercises, visualization, and more. Both Tesla and Einstein were known for their ability to concentrate deeply on their work and to enter a state of flow where they were completely absorbed in what they were doing. This type of focused attention is similar to what one might experience during meditation, where the mind is trained to quiet distractions and focus on a single point of attention. Additionally, the act of spending time alone, away from the distractions of the outside world, is another common component of meditation, and both Tesla and Einstein took time to retreat and focus their minds in this way. Perhaps meditation is allowing us to pull the veils of reality from our eyes, pulling back the curtains on the world stage. It's been known that psychedelic experiences induce higher states of consciousness. This has been proven by the fact that brain scans done on those under the influence of psychotropics reveal almost no brain activity. If one were to predict what is going to happen during a psychedelic experience from the viewpoint of mainstream science, which states that consciousness is local and all centered in the brain, then this revelation would shatter your world. This tells us that these experiences of higher states of awareness are not happening locally within the brain. They are not creations or hallucinations. Our brain censors our reality in order to focus us into a state of survival. We think linearly, even though time is just a construct and proven to be happening all at once. The superposition of our lives, superimposed onto a cosmic conscious energy that flows through everything. This energy creates an encyclopedia that, when accessed, can lead to significant insights and breakthroughs. So what if we could access this encyclopedia? What if we could answer, solve, overcome, analyze, strategize, and resolve any problem the human race can or will ever experience? I look back at Siddhartha Buddha, the enlightened one, and can't help but wonder, could this be what Buddha was actually doing when attaining enlightenment? Full access to the cosmic memory, giving unfettered access to an infinite wisdom. It is possible that the Buddha or other advanced practitioners could have developed a deep intuitive access to the Akashic record through their meditation practice, leading to the insights that are associated with enlightenment. There is only one way to find out. According to science, it only takes 2% of a system to adhere to coherence. The phenomenon is called the threshold effect. It is a concept in physics that refers to a critical point where a drastic change occurs in the behavior of a system. In certain systems, such as liquid helium, it has been observed that when the temperature is lowered, the behavior of the system changes dramatically, and it becomes a superfluid. In the case of liquid helium, the threshold effect occurs when the temperature drops below a critical point known as the lambda point. At this point, approximately 2% of the helium atoms undergo a phase transition and become coherent, meaning they all behave in the same way. This coherence then spreads throughout the entire system, resulting in the unusual properties of a superfluid. So, while it is true that only 2% of the system undergoes the phase transition, the coherence ultimately spreads throughout the entire system, resulting in a superfluid. Now imagine if we could translate this effect into the collective consciousness, that is the human race. As above, so below.
He's beginning to believe.
Imagine if we get 2% of a city to meditate and focus on a single collective thought to access this encyclopedia. This isn't just a thought experiment here. I'm asking you all to actually try this with me.
I did not see that coming. Because you're the clone.
For more videos on consciousness, zero-point energy, and other forms of forbidden knowledge, like and subscribe to my YouTube and TikTok channels. What are you waiting for? Take the red pill and arm yourself with forbidden knowledge. Subscribe today.
Well, hope you all enjoyed my Parallel Worlds Theory video, part 2. Part 1 and part 2 are available on my channel. They're one of the part 1 is one of the first videos I actually uploaded on the channel. So I'm pretty proud of that one. Give me a moment. I'm going to change the mic settings real quick. Remember, it is just me, one-man show. I do not have a producer. I am my own producer. So I got to do this stuff on the fly. But I have tons of experience, so it's no problem. All right, so welcome back. If you're just tuning in, we are going over the science behind tarot and astrology. This is part 1 of a 2-part series. Maybe if there's enough information, we'll make it a 3-part. Well, we'll see. So, segment 1, we're going to take a look at the misunderstandings of the tool of tarot readings. First, we're going to look at some basic misconceptions about tarot readings in general. And I see this question, I find it online quite frequently when searching the topic of tarot legitimacy. If tarot is real, why haven't tarot readers won the lottery? Now, this is a huge misconception about tarot readings. So this is like saying, if your car works, why hasn't it flown to the moon yet? It's a categorical error. Tarot isn't a crystal ball to give you lottery numbers. It's a symbolic map of resonance. Its purpose is alignment, clarity, and preparation. Not predicting events specifically that are random or disconnected from your conscious influence. It reflects a field of possibilities, each shaped by your choices and the unfolding paths within your life. So your life is like a branching tree or forked lightning, right? You have freedom of choice there, and there are options. So we're going to break down the fallacy. Winning the lottery is a randomized, highly specific statistical outcome. Tarot is a tool of pattern recognition and symbolic interpretation, more like a compass, less like GPS. So moving on to segment 2, the hypothetical science, or how tarot might actually work from a scientific standpoint. Well, Fringe hypothesis is this: the conscious plasmoid plus Akashic access. So the conscious plasmoid theory goes like this. Certain forms of high-spin matter or plasma-like formations like plasmoids may exhibit proto-conscious behavior, and this has been studied extensively by researchers like Bob Greenyer. These plasmoids, or subtle fields, could interact with human intention. Much like how observers collapse a wave function in quantum mechanics via the double slit experiment, intentional observer effects on quantum randomness, order from chaos. The Akashic field fits in here as a theoretical omnipresent field of information, much like the zero-point energy field or David Bohm's implicate order. Tarot might be tapping into this field using an archetypal symbols or that resonate with universal psychic patterns. Remember, Geometry is integral to understanding how the universe actually works. Just look at the geometry of the rodent coil here. It doesn't do what it does. These special effects that it has, the properties, the unique properties, don't arise without that unique geometry. So Dan Winter reminds us that geometry is the structure of charge. Okay, remember that. Geometry is the structure of charge. Dan often said things like, this is to imply that specific geometries can store, focus, and transmit energy, especially implosive geometries or inward, like the golden ratio or dodecahedrons. Malcolm Bendel's plasmoid unification model, which can be seen, well, actually, you can't see it. It's a little bit over. I'll show it to you in a little bit. His model, his plasmoid unification model, backs this up by also implying that the universe operates off of implosive energy rather than explosive, which is what our current propulsion systems are based off of still. Think about that. We still use explosive technology. We're, setting things on fire and exploding them to use that force to push a piston or spin a turbine, right? Nature doesn't operate that way. Nature uses implosive energy. Think microscopic plasmoid structures that implode in on themselves, right? That's how they're formed, little balls of water or whatnot. And they implode on themselves in such a way that they create a self-sustaining bit of plasma or microplasmoid or microball lightning, whatever you want to call it. There's many names for plasmoids since the science has been fractured so much. We have independent people discovering the same thing, labeling it something else. And that's where things get really confusing with fringe science. And you have to really pay attention to the etymology of things. The etymology, the history, the lineage of these words, where they came from, what they mean. So I digress on that. But going back to Dan Winter, Dan often emphasizes that by drawing or focusing on coherent symbols, just drawing them or focusing on them, like the Viscera Pisces, the Flower of Life, or the pentagram, it can influence consciousness, space, and even the vacuum field, because these patterns supposedly match the way charge compresses or self-organizes in nature. If magnets can interact with the vacuum, it's not that inconceivable to imagine simple geometry can interact with the vacuum as well. Dan would often say things like, when you draw the correct fractal on a paper, you align the symmetry of the vacuum. And sacred geometry is not just spiritual, it's electrical. In this moment, I like to remind everybody watching that Marco Rodin, the discoverer, or he would like to say he rediscovered it rather, the discoverer of vortex-based mathematics, which my coils are based off of, the mathematical constructs of my vortex coils run on, Marco says that the Bible actually refers to zero-point energy or energy from the vacuum. Only the word they use is spirit. Makes you really think about all those Bible verses in an entirely new light. In a way, pulling a tarot card might be like queuing an Akashic Google request. Except your brain is the browser, and the cards are the interface. Moving on to segment 3, the moon, gravity, and biological responses. If you don't believe in subtle influences of celestial bodies, consider the moon. It affects tides, female reproductive cycles, and even mood disorders. That's a massive celestial body pulling at all our oceans and our brains. Remember, our bodies are 80% water. Is it 80 or 60? I forget. 70%, I believe. Something like that. It's like 70% water. So why can't the broader cosmos influence us through repeatable archetypal patterns? Well, let's look at scientific observations. Lunar cycles affect melatonin production and sleep cycles. These are all facts, okay? The magnetoreception exists in birds, right? Some researchers believe humans may still possess a vestigial sensitivity to geomagnetic fields. So the conclusion here is it's not absurd to suggest that consistent cosmic patterns, from gravity to electromagnetism, could subtly inform our psyche, our timing, and even our decision-making. Segment 4 goes into personalization versus generalization, something that is a very common concern among skeptics of tarot. Think of the difference between a daily zodiac horoscope and a tarot session. Is like comparing a weather forecast for the state versus your backyard. Okay, so group versus individual resonance. General astrology speaks in archetypes, useful as broad energetic themes. Individual tarot are moment-to-moment intuitive reflections, using the current energy field of that person. The more tuned in the reader, the more present the querent, the more specific the result. Segment 5, synchronicity. The real engine of tarot? Maybe. As Carl Jung's synchronicity, meaningful coincidences have no causal link but seem deeply connected. Tarot may operate on synchronic resonance, where symbols align with your inner psyche, reflecting internal truths. Some examples of this are, have you thought of someone and they called you? This has happened to me many times. You're just randomly thinking about somebody you haven't thought about in a long time, or somebody that you haven't had on your mind in a while, and all of a sudden they call you. That's not a prediction. That's entanglement. In a system, in mainstream science, doesn't really fully understand this phenomenon, but it happens. Things like this happen all the time. Not even that, like when I was growing up, I remember having flashes, literal premonitions, just glimpses into the future, and I thought I was just, imaginative or daydreaming. But they would happen very, very specifically. Like I'd be walking through the hallway in high school, and I would have a flash of something my teacher would say, very random, very out of, topic for, the subject they would be teaching, just something random that would happen, flash in my head, and then lo and behold, I go to class, and it happens. This is a phenomenon that happens all the time. People really don't talk about it because a lot of times when you say that sort of thing or discuss these kinds of things, people look at you like you're crazy. But there's very real science behind these phenomenons. And that's the universal field that emanates everywhere, the vacuum. So segment 3 is a model for a hypothetical tarot mechanics. So human intention, interactions with a local subtle energy field could be akin to zero-point energy or etheric medium. Tarot symbols may function as attractors for meaningful archetypal resonance. Remember, geometry itself can function as a magnet for that vacuum energy. Plasmoid intelligence, a possible feedback interface through which energy structures, maybe like thought forms, interact with the physical tools. And reading, the symbolic reflection of possible pathways, much like harmonic resonance patterns or standing waves. Segment 7 is critical thought and self-reflection. Look, I'm not saying this is how tarot works, okay? I'm saying this is one hypothetical framework that would make it possible without violating known laws of nature. And if nature includes dark energy, antimatter and quantum tunneling, maybe, just maybe, it includes symbolic resonance as well. When we return from our short break, I have an extra fun topic to discuss that didn't quite fit into the main segment of the show. When we return on the Benefactor's Guide to Free Energy Devices, only here on Beneficence TV.
In a world where innovation...
Listen, Elon, we got to be smart about this. Very smart. Some would say the smartest. The founders, great guys, tremendous guys, wrote a beautiful document, but let's be honest, it's very outdated. Tremendously outdated. Almost as bad as low-flow toilets, folks. They don't flush. You know this, I know this, everybody knows this.
Right. The flushing technology is deeply inefficient. I mean, I could engineer a vacuum-powered hyperflush system, but instead here we are talking about flushing concepts. Which parts do we deorbit?
First of all, term limits. Gone. What's the point? The people love me. They want me. Have you seen the rallies? Thousands, Elon. Millions. It's practically a mandate from God.
Okay, but let's think strategically. If we dump term limits, we got to spin it for the people, like democracy too. Now with more freedom, maybe say term limits are woke because they limit choices.
Genius. We call freedom forever. Let the people vote over and over and over again until they get it right, which is me. Very fair. Like a subscription model, but for elections.
Maybe we also flush the whole checks and balances thing. Too many checks, not enough balances. Very inefficient system.
I was just saying that. Checks, fake news, balance. I've already got it. I mean, have you seen my golf swing?
So, judiciary stays, or do we replace it with an AI? Maybe one that, thinks correctly?
Elon, my friend, that's why you're a visionary. A big thinker. We replaced the Supreme Court with Truth GPT. No more interpretations. Just cold, hard facts. And those facts are, of course, very good for me.
Love it. But what about the First Amendment? People keep saying things. I don't like when they say things.
Well, we keep half of it. The part where we can say anything. The other half, straight into the toilet. Swirl it around. Maybe add some bleach. Like a little disinfecting cocktail.
Good. Free speech, but only for shareholders.
See? This is why America wins with us, Elon. We're cutting the red tape, making democracy as smooth as a beautiful golden flush.
Wait, if we flush too much, doesn't that kind of break the system and then we're left ruling over chaos?
Elon! That's where you're wrong. We don't break it, we fix it. Like I fixed casinos, like I fixed Twitter. I mean X, like I fixed everything. Trust me, it's going to be beautiful. The best, most American flush in history.
Okay, but if this backfires, I do have a rocket out back and in my pants. Fully reusable, rapid re-entry, and elongated for maximum efficiency, courtesy of my amazing plastic surgeon.
Elon, I gotta say, tremendous work. Many people are saying it, but let me tell you, if we're talking size, I've got the biggest constitutional amendment right here. They say it's too long, too thick, too complicated. One woman even said it's a bit crooked. I say that's what makes it great.
Well, mine's state-of-the-art, incredible efficiency, ultra lightweight but powerful, like the armored Cybertruck, but personalized for maximum insemination. And we fixed the bulletproof function as well.
Not gonna lie, I'm impressed. But as you know, size does matter. In America, she loves a guy with a huge mandate. She doesn't mind if you grab her by the profit either.
Right. And speaking of things getting wrecked, are we still flushing term limits?
Oh, absolutely. The biggest flush in history. Tremendous. Like my ratings. And apparently like your new launch system.
Got it. Term limits, free speech for shareholders, Supreme Court replaced with Truth GPT, bold moves. But if this backfires, I still have a rocket out back.
Escape plans? Love it. Very smart. But trust me, Elon, this flush is going to make America great again.
so long, Constitution. You might have heard a jewel thief circuit hum to you before, but have you ever heard a jewel thief circuit actually sing to you? This is energy recycling. 15.5 hours of continuous power compared to just 2.5 hours off of a standard inverter. While this traditional inverter already maxes out at 88.5% efficiency, we're breaking every limit with my Vortex coil system. This standard DC to AC inverter will only run for 2.5 hours on 12.2 watt hours of energy. But my system provides energy for a whopping 15.5 hours off of the same 12.2 watt hours. That's over 6 times more efficient. Not only that, the system will keep powering my lights well past 12 volts on the battery. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a new industrial revolution. This is the energy of the future, and you are powering it. Imagine a world where energy is infinite, where the power to fuel our lives doesn't come from burning the past, but from harnessing the future. This is the breakthrough that changes everything. 0-point energy, the power of the universe itself, unlocked, and you are the reason it is possible. While the world sleeps, you're awake. While others talk, we are building. This isn't just technology, it's a revolution. And it's happening right now, powered by you. So thank you so much for joining me here on Beneficence TV and supporting our goals in open sourcing 0-point energy technology and disseminating all forms of forbidden knowledge.
Changing the system, treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his boy. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice?
This video was bang on brilliant stuff. I'll give it a shout out in my next video. I've forwarded it to Malcolm to check out too.
The viewers have spoken.
What an amazing documentary. Thanks for producing it.
Never seen this all tied together so well. Gonna share the heck out of it. Bravo and thank you.
Divine Science is officially a hit.
Amazing stuff, very nicely presented. New sub who can't consume your content quick enough. Great video, dude. Keep at it, you are doing the good work.
You did a great job putting this all together. It's a great overview, goes into amazing depth at times, so it's interesting for the larger swath of people. Well played, sir.
Okay. So I didn't sleep last night because I watched this 3 times and binged the rest of the channel. You have fantastic instincts for piecing concepts together. Almost every section was something I was already familiar with in a different context. And this documentary was the thread connecting them all.
Join us on a journey into a place of hidden knowledge. A place where science is stranger than fiction.
Have you heard about this benefactor guy? This dude is talking about free energy, but here's the twist. He says it's not free energy. He's calling it energy recycling, which first off is kind of genius, right? Because when you say free energy, people immediately throw you in the crazy bin. But energy recycling, that sounds like some next level Tesla shit.
Yeah, man, it's all about the branding. But what is it that he's actually doing?
All right, check this out. He posted this. Free energy isn't actually free. This is a misnomer. It's actually a mutual exchange from the vacuum, a field of energy from which everything arises, the same energy that powers an atom. Like what? Bro, that's some deep shit. But then he breaks it down. He says you can tap into this energy without breaking any known laws of physics by using something called back EMF capture.
Whoa, back EMF capture? Sounds like some serious sci-fi tech.
Dude, listen to this. He explains that when a coil collapses using a pulsed signal, the energy that would normally just get wasted, like just dissipate as heat, can actually be recycled. He says nature gives you back energy to stabilize the system, which makes sense if you think about how nature works. Like everything in nature is always trying to find balance, right?
So equilibrium, is that like how water always levels out or something? I'm trying to remember what Ms. Murphy said to me in 6th grade science all those years ago. What was that? Oh yeah, Elon, stop eating that glue and pay attention. Man, if only I had listened, I'd probably be the one inventing energy recycling instead of just talking about it.
Exactly. So he's saying that by intentionally destabilizing the system, collapsing the field, you actually get energy back as a kind of natural response. And here's where it gets wild. He compares it to pushing a swing. If you push at the right moment, you don't need to use a lot of energy and the swing gains momentum. But instead of a swing, he's using resonance to harness that extra energy without it becoming destructive. He says most traditional systems are like a surfer fighting against the current, while his method is like riding the wave to shore.
Dude, that's crazy. So he's basically saying the energy is already there. I just suck at using it efficiently?
That's what it sounds like. He's basically saying the way we harness energy now is like trying to swim against the tide. And if we used resonance instead, we'd be tapping into energy that's already there, just waiting to be used. I don't know, man. Either this guy is onto something or he's the most poetic bullshitter of all time.
Well, if he's legit, why isn't he all over the news? I haven't heard anything from him on X, formerly Twitter. He hasn't said anything bad about me on X. So, you know, I didn't ban him or anything. Look, I'm not the monster my therapist says I am. I mean, sure, I've spent millions of dollars training to beat a kangaroo in a fist fight, but that doesn't mean I'm dangerous. It just means I get shit done.
That's the real question, man. But here's the craziest part. I looked into him, and he's not selling anything. He open sources all of it. That's the real question, man. Either the system doesn't want to hear it, or we're about to find out if this guy disappears in the middle of the night.
Dude, that's crazy. He's absolutely crazy. That means if he's telling the truth, anybody could build this in their garage. You know what I say? Go fuck yourself, benefactor.
Nope, no patents, no paywalls, just straight up, here, take it, see for yourself. Like, what kind of madman does that? Usually people either try to cash in or they get shut down before they can say a word. But this guy, he's out there on live streams showing people exactly how to replicate it.
I mean, if you want to try to take on my Tesla tech, how dare you put out better technology that is cheaper and safer? Go fuck yourself.
That's the thing, man. If it's real and people start building it, that's a game changer. We're talking about completely shifting how we think about energy. But also, if it's real, you got to wonder how long before somebody tries to stop him.
Or maybe we can think of it like how long before his Tesla mysteriously malfunctions.
Exactly. You ever notice how every time someone gets too close to this kind of stuff, they either disappear, get discredited, or somehow have a tragic accident? But this guy's going full transparency mode. He's putting it all out there where everyone can see it. Maybe that's his strategy. If enough people know, it can't just get buried.
Holy shit, this might be one of those moments, you know, like we look back and say that was the start of something huge.
Can't you hear his voice?
All right. Welcome, and welcome back, everybody, to the Benefactor's Guide to Free Energy Devices, where we have somewhat of an off-topic but still relevant subject to discuss. So, this could more accurately be labeled the Benefactor's Guide to Eco-Alchemy. So what if I told you that the slimy stuff in okra could save the planet? No, this isn't a salad commercial, ladies and gentlemen. It's Ben's Guide to Eco-Alchemy. All right, so let's discuss the problem. We're going to take a quick look at the microplastic crisis in oceans, in tap water, and even in rain. What's up with that? Microplastics are in everything nowadays, from the deepest oceans to the rain falling on mountaintops. And yes, that includes your bottled water. It's kind of scary. So, did you know the average human ingests a credit card's worth of plastic every week? That's not a metaphor. That's measurable. And that's not just an environmental problem. It's a health crisis hiding in plain sight, something that's been on my mind for a while now. So what do we do about this crisis? Well, let's look at this new discovery. Okay, so deep in the labs of Tarleton State, a humble team led by Dr. Rajani Sirivasanan just dropped a truth bomb on us all. Okra, tamarind, cactus, and fenugreek could just be the next superhero squad. Maybe call them the Fungi 4? No. Well, in a groundbreaking study led by Dr. Rajani Srinivasanan at Tarleton State University, researchers discovered that these everyday plants contain mucilage, a sticky plant-based goo that acts like a net for microplastics. When mixed with contaminated water, the mucilage binds to microplastics, clumping them together for easy removal. No power, no chemicals, no tech, just nature doing what it does best. And this is what I love the best about this solution. It's natural, right? There's no power required. So let's take a look at the big picture here. But first, a message from our sponsors. This episode is sponsored by okra. It's not just for your grandma's gumbo anymore, ladies and gentlemen. So, are you tired of drinking microplastics like it's part of your balanced breakfast? Do you long for a simpler time when water didn't come with a side of petroleum? Then it's time for the Okra Water Purification Deluxe Home Defense Mucilage System. Because corporations won't save you, but vegetables just might. Act now and you'll receive a lovingly pre-slimed mason jar, sealed with an eco-anxious prayer. One organically harvested cactus paddle, pre-sliced by a guy named Dusty, and a month's supply of artisanal fenugreek slime pellets, hand-rolled by monks who also compost their emails. But wait, it gets worse. If you call in the next 6 minutes, we'll throw in a limited edition Hydrate or Die trying okra squeeze, a vial of Big Plastic's Black Tears, and a trucker hat that says, "I filtered my water with soup, but all I got was a better future." All for 3 easy payments of your dignity and 1 reusable produce bag full of guilt. Because remember, why rely on billion-dollar filtration infrastructure when you can just soak a vegetable and hope for the best? But jokes aside, let's take a look at the big picture here. Imagine this. A family in a rural village using okra water to purify a bucket of river water. A household replacing pricey filters with a backyard-grown solution. A community garden that doesn't just feed you, it cleans your water supply. This method is non-toxic, affordable, scalable, and wildly accessible. Forget $10,000 filtration units. Turn your compost pile into a purification plant. That's what I say. So in a world of machines and noise, maybe the answer isn't more power. Maybe it's more plants. So thank you so much for joining me here on this episode of the Benefactor's Guide to Free Energy Devices and Eco-Alchemy. I appreciate all your love and support. The likes and the comments, they do help with the algorithm. So have a good night, everybody. Peace.
Masked by golden curtains. You didn't know we're shattering the silence. Feel the power. Revelations on the rise. From the shadows, light emerges, breaking through the veils of dark. 0 points and gravity converge, yeah. Dying voices, revelation start. Ancient whispers call. They're begging us to open our eyes. We stand tall, defying all their lies. Even in now, we're shattering the silence. Feel the power. Revelations on the rise. Forbidden knowledge we dare to see, unveiling secrets, setting minds free. In this epic we play our part with fierce hearts. You didn't know we're shattering the silence. Feel the power. Revelations on the rise.